Welcome back, guys. Week 8, day 1. Today is the last day of February. Remember to place the date at the very top of your page and leave an empty space for the topic. So, as usual, we're going to begin with definitions. Okay, we're going to begin with definition. And we're going to work with something that we know already how to solve. And that is linear inequalities. So we have seen already inequalities, remember? Well, today we're going to see linear inequalities, okay? The definition is really easy. It's basically a linear equation that changes the equal sign changes the equal sign with less than, greater than, less than or equal, which I'm going to place that or equal in a bit, or greater than or equal, sorry, this is less than or equal or greater than or equal, okay? So that is a linear inequality. So basically it is a linear equation that's going to be changed. Instead of an equal sign, you're going to have either sign of inequalities that we have seen already, okay? The normal ones. Now we're going to talk about how we graph linear inequalities, okay? So linear inequalities are graphed using the intercepts, the method of intercepts, in order to make it easier. Okay, you can use any other method, but in order to make it easier, we're going to graph it using the method of the intercepts, okay? That's what we're going to do. However, we need to comply or use the 3 specific rules. Remember the 3 specific rules for inequalities? You remember that? No, you don't remember that? Okay, which ones are they? Okay, which ones are they? In this case, we're going to say that the y has to be completely unknown in one side. Well, actually, it doesn't matter if the y is completely alone in one side, since we are substituting one of the variables with 0. So we're going to say that the variable has to be on the left side. Constants has to be on the right side. And the last one, which is one of the most important, as I always said, if a negative number passes multiplying or dividing from the left to the right, then flip the inequality sign. Okay, this one is the most important one, remember, where we need to flip the inequality sign if we got a negative number. If you don't flip it, then you're not going to have the correct answer, okay? What else do we need to know about linear inequalities? Okay, so we're still also going to use the same. This is open. These two are going to be open. We're still going to have open and closed inequalities. Okay, these two are going to be closed. Open. Closed. So you're still going to graph it in the coordinate plane as open or close the points. This is for the points, okay? However, the lines of your inequality also need to be a little bit different. How different? Okay. Well, if it's open, then you're going to graph it with a dashed line. Okay, you need to graph it with a dashed line. And if it is closed, then you're going to graph it with a continuous line. Okay, a solid line. If it's open, with a dashed line. If it's closed, with a solid line. This is open, this is closed. Okay, so we need to know that. What else do we need to know? Well, we need to remember that if we have a greater than, it means that it goes to the right. Let's do it. We're going to say now up, okay? But it is to the right. It is the same thing. Up and to the right. I'm going to do it like that. And I'm going to explain you when we graph one. And this will go down and to the left. If it's less than or equal. Okay. All of this, it continues to happen just like the normal inequalities that we saw. This is when we get to see a linear inequality, only the linear inequality, the normal thing. Okay. Now, what are we going to do when we have something else? Let's go with the second definition, which is system of linear inequalities. What are the systems of linear inequalities? Just like the equation is when we have two or more linear inequalities. And that's it. Okay, system of linear inequalities. When we have two or more linear inequalities, then the solution of a linear inequality. What is the solution of a linear inequality? Is any ordered pair that makes each inequality in the system true. Okay, and as always, as usual, they are graphed in the same coordinate plane, okay? We can also have three types of solution. No, in this case, it's not three types of solution. The solution is an area, okay? Of the coordinate plane. Let's say can be an area of the coordinate plane. Okay, so basically this is the information that you need to know. Now we're going to start with one inequality, not with the system. We're going to begin with the linear inequality. So basically remember, you might have just to graph one linear inequality or a system. So let's begin with an easy one. Let's begin with the linear inequality. Okay, let's begin with y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 1. Okay, that's an awful one. Okay, that's it. That's the inequality. The first thing that I'm going to say is that it is open or closed. In this case, open or closed? Closed. Closed. So it means that it's going to be a solid line, right? Closed. Okay, so now I'm going to solve it with the intercepts. I'm going to find the intercept in x. just like I did with my systems of linear equations where I leave an empty space for x and I give the value of 0 to y. And I'm going to substitute it in here. So I'm going to have 0 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 1. And now we go to the rules, to the specific rules, where we need to have the variable on the left side. Do we have the variable on the left side? Yeah, the variable's on the left side. Is the variable on the left side?
No.
No, it is on the right side. So this 2x has to go to this side with an inverse operation, which is negative. So we get negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Now we need to leave the variable completely alone because the constant is on the right side. So this negative 2 goes to the other side with an inverse operation, which is
Dividing.
Very good. So we get that x, but it is a negative sign.
And you flip the sign.
And we flip the sign. Very good. So I'm going to place the word flip. Okay, so it will be no longer greater. Now it's less than or equal to negative 1 divided by negative 2. Can I simplify that? Can I simplify it? Yes. So x is less than or equal negative times negative, positive, positive, 1/2, because actually that's the only thing that I can simplify. So over here, I'll place the 1/2. And just for graphing purposes, I'm going to pass it to a decimal. And 1/2 in a decimal is 0.5. So 0.5, comma, 0. That's the intercept in x. Now I'm going to find the intercept in y. And this you're going to have to do it when it's a system for both inequalities. So the intercept in y is when x is 0 and we leave the empty space for the y. Okay, so we're going to substitute 0 in the x of this inequality. So we're going to have y is greater than or equal to 2 times 0 minus 1. 2 times 0, 0. What do I have left? That y is greater than or equal to negative 1. And that's it. Okay, that's it for the solution. Now, I need to graph this inequality. So you see, I need basically negative on the y and positive on the x. So I'm going to do like that. I'm going to use a scale of 2 squares will be 1 unit. So this is positive 1, this is negative 1, and this is negative 1. And now I'm going to graph it. So I'm going to graph 0.5 comma 0. So that's over here on the x. Okay, I forgot to do this arrowhead. This is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Okay, so this is the first point. Now 0 comma negative 1 over here. Now we said that this is a solid line. Okay, so we're going to graph and connect those 2 points with a solid line. If it was a dashed line, if it was open, then you have to do it dashed. Okay, I'm going to show you in the next example that we do the next class. Okay, so it is solid. Now, this is the important part. You need to paint. So you need colors. Okay, why? Because the area, the solution can be an area of the coordinate plane. So linear inequalities will have not just one order point, order pair. It might have more than one order pair that makes the solution true. Now, how do we know it? Okay, this is greater than. It goes to the right and up. But from where? From the point in y. Okay, so from this point in y, this intercept the y, we are going to paint our coordinate plane all the way up of the line. This is painting, okay? So you need to paint it with a color. You're not going to do lines like this in your notebook. You need to paint it, and you need to paint the whole section of the coordinate plane that is up from the y-intercept. You see, this part is down the y-intercept. So I'm not painting this part. I'm painting up from the y-intercept, which is this point, okay? So I'm going up. And you need to paint it, okay? Don't leave it like empty spaces like over here. So because I cannot do it in here, paint it properly, okay? But you need to paint it in one same direction, okay? And that is the solution of your inequality. Miss, I don't understand. Why is that a solution of the inequality? Okay, let's say that I pick this order pair, 0, 0, the origin. If I substitute 0, 0 in this, so I'm going to have 0 is greater than 2 times 0 minus 1. 2 times 0 is 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to -1. Is 0 greater than or equal to -1? Yes, remember 0 is greater than the negative numbers. So yes, it is true. If I choose this point over here, 0, -1, I get the -1, because I'm substituting -1, 0, 2 times 0 is 0. So -1 is greater than or equal to -1. Greater than, it is not, but it is or equal. So it is part of the solution as well. Now, if I pick, for example, this other point, -1, 1. -1 is greater than or equal to how much? To 2 times -1, that's -1, and I mean -2 minus 1, that's -3. So -1 is greater than -3. That is also correct. Now, if I choose this over here, a positive 1, on the x, 2 times 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, and on the y, I got -1. Is -1 greater than 0? No. Equal to 0? No. So you see, every point that is on this side, on the shaded part, will be part of the solution. Every point that is down from the y-intercept, it is not. Okay? Questions? Okay, soak it in. You need to soak this in, okay? You need to remember and soak in this topic. It is a little bit complex, but it is not difficult. So come on, I know that you can do it. This will be everything we're going to see today. We're going to continue with the topic in our next class. Any questions? No questions? Okay, then I'll see you in the next class.